what is up guys? Technical Stinkers here, checking in on our little 3D print operation for the day. If you're new to the channel, uninitiated or unfamiliar, I do 3D printing here at home, stuff for around the house, stuff to support other projects, stuff to improve my life, print, sell on the internet for money, or just show off on the internet for subscribers. If you're interested in any of those things and want to follow along in the process, be sure to subscribe to the channel. What have I got going on today? A million and one things always, but you know, it's that busy time of year, and honestly, I'm gonna be dead honest with you a little bit. When I get Etsy orders now, I'm kind of like, ugh. And that's kind of the opposite of what most people are going for with printing and selling stuff on the internet. But if you've been following along, you know, at least the whole saga of the channel, you know, I started out trying to print things and sell with the idea of scaling up, and I've mentioned that in a previous video, my delusions of grandeur. And I've kind of like, you know, come to grips with the fact that maybe that's not a viable sort of thing. And that's kind of why the channel shifted, you know, sort of to me just doing exhibition prints, things around the house, not as hard focused on it, printing, doing the e-com sort of thing. And I've been seeing a lot more content coming out about that. And I'm not trying to go into another monologue here of, you know, the writings on the wall for 3D print stuff. But I mean, I have, and that's just my experience. You know, I'm not going to try to sell something that I don't believe in. I did the video about how to make money in 3D printing with like the, you know, custom sort of items, the B2B sales. You know, I just feel like, yeah, you can make money doing that kind of thing. It's just finding those leads is next to impossible. But in my personal opinion, printing small widgets or fidget spinners or dragons or even crypto shrouds and stuff like that, it's not really like a long-term thing. Side income, pocket change, sure, absolutely. But as something that you want to really put a lot of your money on the line with, probably not so much. Anyway, what have I got going on today? You're going into a monologue again. Over here on the P1P, crypto shrouds coming through. Got 4 of these going. I got 2 on the A1. Orders going to Japan, so they paid that big money international shipping. Hey, I aim to please, so I'm gonna send that off to them as soon as that's done. 85M Pro over here has been working overtime. It's quiet now because I pulled these off. Pulled off the last couple of the DeWalt tool mounts. I'm gonna take a look at those. Did those in PETG. Flashforge coming correct always, or again, it's working out great. And over here on the Giga, this is what prompted me to vlog because this just came off, hot off the press. This is like the Krispy Kreme donut machine. Did you guys have a Krispy Kreme in your town growing up? The one that had the machine you could watch the donuts going through? Well, this just finished up. All right, so what we got here are more of those molds for the architecture firm. I've mentioned that in a couple vids. They were on the fence about ordering 3 more, and I made that video, and then they kind of like, it seemed like that maybe they weren't gonna go for it, and I'm like, of course, I jinxed myself. I spoiled the order by making that video too soon. But they did actually come back. They got the first mold, and they liked it, and so they're like, yeah, give us 3 more. So, you know, a couple $100 per mold that I'm getting out of this. Doesn't take that much filament. It does take a long time. So I have to print 3 of these, and it's gonna take probably about 9 days in total print time because it's 3 parts. I actually had to order more PETG. I only had enough to do this section of sides. The re-up order comes today, and then from there on out, I'll be able to print the remainder of them. And yeah, I mean, the gig has been working great since we sussed out those issues. I've got a spare print head now, and I've got some familiarity with it. So if I do encounter problems, hopefully with this print, because you know, this is 9 days worth of printing in one go for a paid order that's somewhat time sensitive. So I want to make sure I get it stamped out good. And you know, coming off the first round of models, I've kind of, you know, tweaked and tuned it to make it a little bit better. Just got to pull the supports off of this, but coming out great. This is Sunlube basic PETG, nothing fancy about it. Did normal supports on it, and there's a lot of supports around the rim here. The other piece doesn't have nearly as many. So once the replacement PETG gets here, I'm gonna load it up on the Infinity Flow S1. Been singing its praises. This thing's great to have. Links in the description. Buy one. Just buy one. You don't even have to use my link. Use my link. But you don't even have to use my link because this is a super duper recommend. You know, not having to worry about get to the printer to replace the filament. It's just, you know, you load it and go. And if I can move back into 3 or 5 kilogram spools to use the big version. So anyway, very happy to get this off. Very glad this is successful. Gonna keep printing on that. And yeah, that's a nice little order of money, you know, there. And it's good content too, because I can put the dollar symbol in the thumbnail, which always attracts people. So we're gonna keep working on that. Oh yeah, PS, addendum to that. Way back when I did the car part on the Orange Storm Giga, it's a PEI bed and I haven't got the big print sheet yet, but I didn't use anything on the print bed, and I did that car part in PETG, and the print bed was just wrecked with PETG adhering too much to the PEI sheet. And so this time around, I've been using glue stick, and that worked great. But someone said use the nanopolymer adhesive, and I was like, I don't know, that's an adhesive. I don't want more adhesion. And someone said, shut up, dum-dum. It helps with PETG coming off the bed. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go. So I put some nanopolymer adhesive on there, and it's been lifting off like a dream. Been using it on the Flashforge as well for PETG. So if you want to pick up some of that, link to that is in the description below as well. All right, so back here in the land of make-believe, a lot of stuff going on, and I don't know if you're a fan of the channel, you know I like a tidy office, but it is not, it is anything but right now. It is a complete and total disaster, and that's for a few different reasons, and a lot of that ties into 3D printing. Starting at the top, like I had mentioned, A1 going on some crypto shrouds for the Japan order, Arigato. Over here, the FL Sun T1 Max, did the video on that. I've seen a lot of other videos coming out about it. I know a lot of people have opinions about FL Sun. They've always worked for me. I haven't had any catastrophic issues with them. Although I'm not using it, and you know, I'd probably wanted to sell it. You know, I got it for free, and that's, you know, I didn't get any money for that video. So that's just kind of what I do. I don't have room for it. I don't really need an additional printer, and it's a brand new printer, so its price is going to be as high as it's ever going to be right now. So usually that's what I would do. The sticker price on this brand new though is like 450 bucks, and I'm not a huge fan of selling things on Facebook or whatever, because you list something, people want to pay like $1 for, they just drag it out. It's just a nightmare. So higher ticket items, certainly worth it, but I'm just not sure that price point, like 450, you know, realistically, I'd probably have to list it at 350 or something like that. And that's kind of right on the line as to whether or not it's worth it to list and deal with, and people lowball, and then they want, you know, questions and stuff. But may do that, maybe not. Maybe I'll give it. I know some people that could benefit from having a nicer 3D printer. They're still running like Ender 3s. And so I kind of like giving out my printers too, you know, it's like, especially the Cobras. If someone wants one, not you guys, but like real life people that I can actually like give them a printer, and then later I could need something from them and I'd be like, I gave you that printer, you better do a favor for me. Anyway, that's the saga with the FL Sun. Not selling it because it's something wrong with it or I don't like it. It's just, you know, I don't really need it, and it's, you know, gonna fetch the highest price it's ever gonna get right now. The new project that's actually somewhat exciting to me anyway, I don't know, this is kind of far out there. It's part of the vlog though, and 3D printing ties into it. This is this is what excites a 40-year-old man. So you may have noticed all these wires and cables and all this kind of stuff that I got going on. And also, my rack door is open. So the idea is, I had mentioned last time, I think, I mentioned something about this other monitor that I have over here. So this is a completely separate system. I use it for monitoring stuff and, you know, just keeping like, compartmentalized, not air gap, but like compartmentalized stuff just off my main PC, backup stuff. Anyway, I hate having that monitor there. I just want one monitor. I want to tidy it up. I'm all about reducing clutter. So I did buy a KVM switch. If you're unfamiliar with what a KVM switch is, it stands for keyboard, video, mouse. It's just a little box that you can put, you know, a certain number of computers go into it, and then you press a button and it feeds the signal to one monitor. Now, this sounds like a pretty simple device, but it's actually quite complicated and kind of hard to find one that works for your particular setup. They can become quite expensive, and I bought one, it failed, it did not work, so I'm having to get a better one, a more expensive one, and because I only want to feed 4 computers into one monitor. The real hitch point in this that's kind of becoming a fly in the ointment, if you will, is the fact that I run it ultra wide. So the switch has to support, you know, deep DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.1, or whatever it is, and it has to support like 8K. On top of that, it has to support a wiring run from the computer to the switch of it's about 15 to 20 feet, because my rack's in there and it runs through the wall. So you're obviously going to get some signal degradation there, so you need to kind of dial it up and kind of overkill. Anyway, I got a KVM switch, and the idea being is I'm going to consolidate everything into one monitor. But that comes with another host of issues because you have to be able to switch systems, and they usually give you a little button that goes back to the switch that you just press. You can also set up keyboard shortcuts and stuff like that, but I kind of like having the button. So Ultimate Pen Hub Lite version 1.9.7, probably going to make a reappearance with that. So currently working on that. It also necessitates kind of a refresh of the rack room. So I slapped together this, and I feel like I'm going heavy in these. These things are interesting to me with 3D printing, and I feel like maybe a lot of people don't share that sentiment with me, and you just tell me what to print for money on the internet, Matt. Like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Turn off the video if you're not into it. Anyway, you can see down here along the rack, everything comes down off the boxes and goes into this raceway here. It goes through the wall to my computer. So it's just this big, thick cable whip that I have wrapped up. So I just printed this very simple raceway. I put it here on the wall, and that way I can lay everything in there, kind of tidy it up a little bit. Just a very simple fix. It's kind of like, you know, cable management sort of thing. And I designed this. I know, look at that. How did I ever come up with that shape? Second original design of today, you can see back here, these cables, it's mostly Ethernet stuff, but these are just little cable clips, if I get one off. So these are kind of the taller version of this. I designed this a long time ago, one of my first designs. What these do is they're meant to go here in the side. I'm not even sure what these are actually for, but all they do is you slip them in like so, and it's just a cable clip that kind of sits in there, and it kind of moves around a little bit, but it, you know, keeps things secure. It's easy to put in, and if you've ever bought stuff for like IT racks, for actual racks, it doesn't matter what the part is, it's expensive. So I try to 3D print stuff for the rack whenever I can. But I wanted something a little bit better, so I designed another custom design. Master of fusion here. This one lays into the sheet metal. It clamps onto the sheet metal, but it rocks, it cambers back and forth. This one I put barbs on to where it can lock in to that hole and keep it in place. So let's see if that works. PET G also, because this room can get a little spicy in here. All right, so we're gonna see if we can pop this sucker in. And it also kind of, these little slits that I put at the bottom kind of assist in holding it in place. Right there, just like that, boom. Now it still cambers a little bit, not nearly as bad, and it will keep everything in place. And I printed enough to go all the way up, 42U rack, big rack. So with that in place, then I can take all my wiring out because I have to redo a lot of the wiring. I have to switch over my display cables, switch over a lot. I took the opportunity to upgrade, you know, to some higher bandwidth USB. I'm glad that didn't hit me in the face. Some higher bandwidth USB, because I have USB 4 on my main system, but I don't really utilize it much. So I'm gonna run a big leg back. They don't make USB 4 hubs. So that's kind of like a fun other little project that is employing 3D printing a lot for, you know, something that has nothing to do with 3D printing. Kind of like the DeWalt tool mounts. Let's take a look at that. So check it out. So you've been following the process with these DeWalt tool mounts. I got everything up here. I got enough mounts for everything. I'm still waiting for placement because once these are clipped on, getting them off usually breaks the model, which is kind of like, it's fine. You know, I don't plan on moving them around too much, but got all my tools up here, and these have been sitting in this oven of a building for, gosh, 4 or 5 days now. So if they were gonna warp and break and crack, they would have done it already. I don't think there's any way that they wouldn't have. Over here, Mr. Reciprocating Saw, not Sawzall, up here, this one's actually done in PLA. Now it's a thick infill, 3 wall loops. You can see it's kind of pulling out a little bit, but again, if it was gonna fail, it would have done so by now, in my opinion. So I think PLA is fine for this. All the rest are in PET G, a few in PLA, but holding up very well, and it's looking pretty good. So that was a nice thing to get done, and I think what I want to do with this is, I think this is ideal for a short content. So probably what I'll do today or this week is kind of do like, you know, a short content where it's like, oh look, I just put them all in a pile and kind of put some funny noise sound effect like, oh, this is terrible, and then show the time lapses of the mounts printing, and then suddenly very well organized, like and subscribe for more, follow for more, and hopefully I get more subscribers Maybe that'll work. Maybe I should just quit phoning in my content. And before we go back inside, down here reminds me, oh yeah, the landscape lights. So if you've been following the process with the landscape light things, I made those cones to spot out all where I wanted the landscape lights. And so after much toil, I was able to get them all drilled in, mortared in, wired in, bury the wires, connect them back to the transformer. And finally, I have a driveway with built-in wired, not solar, because if anyone's tried that solar stuff, you're like, oh, I want landscape lights. I think solar's gonna be fine. It's way less work. Don't do solar. Not worth it, man, because in 2 months, those things are gonna give out and they're gonna be dull. They're gonna look like shit. Don't do it. Always do wired landscape lighting. I was finally able to get it in, but it's the middle of the day and you can't see them. So let's just, that's better. All right, so here at the driveway, you can see here, looking pretty nice. So that's what I'm working on in 3D print space. Love to know what you're doing and printing and selling or just having fun with, or what you're printing to improve your everyday life in the comments below. Love to know what you think about any or all of these projects. What's the most interesting thing that you've seen? Is any of it interesting, even remotely interesting? Or are you just here to hear me talk? Did this video autoplay while you're driving down the road and you have no idea who I am or what I'm talking about? Either way, leave me some feedback in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do. And of course, subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.